All right, my lovelies. Let's do this. Third time's a charm. Okay. All right. I think I got all my issues fixed now. So let's get it. Let's start over. But I'm going to start another place because I done repeated myself like 3, 4 times and got kicked out of the lives. So let's get into it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit that thumbs up. Please sub to the channel. Okay, now I was not familiar with Ellen Greenberg's case. I don't know if some of you are, but it is a case I am going to be picking up and trying to dig a little bit into. So let me just give you this right here. The knife utilized that caused the death of Ellen Greenberg was never fingerprinted. Ellen had a total of 20 stab wounds. 10 of those were from behind her. Her death has been ruled a side. This case stinks and the corruption is beyond words. Everyone should be talking about this case and asking for justice. Now, let me pull up this picture so you can see it a little bit better. This was her. These were some of her wounds. I mean, who in their right mind is going to think that she reached behind herself and jabbed herself in the spine and in the back of the neck and not investigate it as a homicide? Instead, it was just conveniently ruled a freaking side. All right, now let me pull this. Let me go over here. And let me share this with you guys. If you've heard of this case, let me know. Throw one in the chat. Because I have not. This is new. This is a new case to me. Hey, Mello. Right? It so does too. So let me pull this up. Knife used inside of Philly woman stabbed 20 times was never tested for fingerprints. Philadelphia investigators ruled Ellen Greenberg's 2011 stabbing death a side despite widespread criticism of their findings. The knife found piercing the chest of 27-year-old Philadelphia teacher Ellen Greenberg has never been fingerprinted, according to the attorney for her parents, who are suing the city officials over an alleged cover-up of her murder. Greenberg was discovered dead in her kitchen in January 2011 with 20 stab wounds, including 10 from behind her. But city authorities have said for years that her death was a suicide and are still embroiled in a court battle over evidence in the case, which her parents want access to. One piece of that evidence is the knife itself. We would like to have it tested minimally just to see if there are fingerprints on it, because if there aren't any fingerprints, that says a lot, says Joseph Pedraza, the attorney for Joshua and Sandy Greenberg and their daughter's estate. It would mean someone, a potential killer, wiped them off after she was dead.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. It's been over a decade since Ellen Greenberg was found dead with 20 stab wounds over her body.
There. Okay. Sorry. Let me go down here. And if there are fingerprints other than Ellen's on that knife, well, that says a lot too. Somebody clearly did stab her, he said, and it's never been fingerprinted. I mean, how crazy is that? Dr. Michael Baden, a renowned forensic pathologist who is not connected to the case, said if the knife has been stored properly all this time, fingerprints can be analyzed. Fingerprints usually don't go away unless they are wiped away. He told Fox News Digital, if the knife has been properly preserved, a foreign fingerprint might still be findable. A lot of evidence in the case deserves scrutiny, according to Pedraza and the family's private investigator, Tom Brennan. Despite collapsing with nearly 24 stab wounds in a blood-stained kitchen, Greenberg was found clutching a pristine white towel in her left hand. Look at that. I mean, That is completely insane. How that could ever be ruled a suicide is beyond me. I think that towel that's in her left hand was used to wipe it, the knife handle, Pedraza told Fox News Digital, and I think that somebody may have come upon the scene quicker than they thought, and that's how that towel ended up in her left hand. How many people are cutting up fruit for a fruit salad to eat for lunch, then decide, oh, you know something, I'd rather just, myself now, Pedraza said. So let me go get a white towel, hold it in my left hand while stabbing myself 20 times to death. Last month, a panel of judges ruled against the parents' request to force the Philadelphia medical examiner to reclassify Greenberg's death from suicide to homicide or undetermined. But the panel also slammed the city police and the medical examiner's office for the investigation. The facts surrounding this matter are extremely disturbing, and the parents' tireless efforts over the past 12 years to learn exactly what happened to their daughter on the evening of January 26, 2011, warrant our sincere sympathy. The experts they enlisted have all raised serious factual questions about Dr. Marlon Osborne's and Dr. Sam Galino's conclusions, and even the medical examiner's office now concedes that there is no dispute that evidence in the record could support other conclusions about the manner of death. Wow, right? Ciesler outlined glaring flaws in the investigation. Osborne's initial finding was that the death was a homicide, but his determination came after the crime scene had been cleaned up and before police arrived with a search warrant. That's crazy. And Dr. Cyril Wecht, a famed forensic pathologist who conducted an independent review of the autopsy, found the evidence strongly suspicious of homicide and noted that the investigators made no effort to examine the knife found in the victim's chest for fingerprints. A separate judge is expected to hear oral arguments on the family's request for evidence in the case as part of a separate lawsuit alleging a conspiracy to cover up a murder. The city is actively fighting against the disclosure. Duh. Officials have said they cannot answer questions directly related to the case, citing the pending litigation and ongoing outside investigation in the hands of neighboring Chester County District Attorney's Office.
Not all local roofers are created equal. At Erie Home, we make roofing quick and easy. Click to schedule an appointment with one of our roofing.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. It's been over a decade since Ellen Greenberg was found dead with 20 stab wounds over her body, including her head and neck. Police initially ruled the death a homicide, but the case went cold, and the manner of death was changed to suicide. Families never give up trying to find the facts, trying to get answers, trying to find the truth, inside or outside of a courtroom. It's been over a decade, but her family still believes the manner of her death should be re-examined. To solve, charge, and prosecute a murder, you need different things from different people. The police have their jobs to do. The prosecutor has to effectively evaluate, present, and persuade, but most murder cases are solved and won by doctors, by scientists, by forensic pathologists who apply science to the facts and hopefully help us understand whether the evidence points towards murder or suicide. Joining us now is forensic pathologist and Fox News contributor, Dr. Michael Baldwin. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. As you look at the findings in Ellen Greenberg's case, what's the most compelling evidence that would support, well, first go with suicide. What evidence do you see that would support the manner of death as being suicide? Homicide, I should say. Homicide first.
Well, the way it happened, Trey, was when the police get there to the scene, the apartment is locked from the inside. No evidence of a struggle inside. They saw blood and they saw a knife sticking out of the chest. They determined in their investigation initially, day one, that it was a suicide. But that's up to the medical examiner. The next day, the autopsy was performed, and the medical examiner did the autopsy, found 20 stab wounds, 10 in the back of the neck, a little unusual, and others in the front. And he classified it as a homicide. So it was considered a homicide from the time the death certificate was issued, about 2 days after the death, for about 2.5 months. And on April 4th, after consulting with the police, the medical examiner changed the manner of death to suicide, the way the police originally had considered it, because there was evidence that she had been under a psychiatric care for severe depression, and that she was given psychotropic medicines for anxiety and for panic attacks. And the police did not find any evidence that anybody else was in that locked apartment before the husband, in order to get into not the husband, the fiancé, had to break the door down to get into the room when she wouldn't open it. So I think now the police originally said suicide. The medical examiner, which he can do, disagreed with the police and thought it was a homicide. And then after fuller investigation, after the toxicology came back, that showed that the psychotropic medicines were below therapeutic levels also, the medical examiner changed it back to from homicide to suicide, and that has upset the family very much, understandably so. And they've spent 10 years, this happened in 2011, and they've spent the time trying to prove that their daughter didn't commit suicide, but that it was homicide as the first diagnosis made by the medical examiner.
You know, Doc, you raised two questions. One is the family and giving them peace, and they're going to want answers. This is incredibly important to family members. I can tell you as a former prosecutor, when I listen to your explanation, I hear reasonable doubt. I mean, I don't know how you could ever go to court on a homicide, because you just laid out a really good case for suicide. So from a court standpoint, I don't know how the case is prosecutable. Will the family ever get satisfaction? Is there any other evidence that could help persuade them on this suicide versus homicide issue?
Well, the family has enlisted a number of very prominent and excellent people, Dr. Cyril Weck, Dr. Henry Lee, and others, to re-examine the matter, and who have found evidences that maybe one of the 20 cut wounds, really, 16 were superficial. They're really hesitant type wounds that are more typical of suicidal cuts. First they get hesitate, and then finally the final stab wound, which is the only one that was lethal, that went through the aorta and lung on the left upper chest, still in the body when the body was found, wasn't a single stab wound. It was after many superficial cuts, hesitatingly. I think the family, from what I've read, had accepted it more readily when they were first told by police that it was a suicide on day one. But then when it was changed to homicide, they thought that would make more sense. And then that undue pressure was put on the medical examiner to change it to
I mean, is that not the craziest? I mean, how crazy is that? She was found with 20 stab wounds, 10 of which were in the back of her neck and in her spine. And they say, oh, well, I mean, she must have done it herself. I know. How crazy was that? So, definitely got to do some digging into that, because that is just so insane to me. Hey, Nana. Hey, CNY Kylie. Mello. I mean, I cannot even imagine what her parents, I mean, I would be livid. I would be so upset. I'd love to talk to her parents. I mean, I can't even believe that. Okay. So definitely keep an eye out for that content, because I'm definitely going to start digging into that case for sure. All right, moving on. Six South Dakota high school baseball players have been charged with ape. Six South Dakota high school baseball players were charged with ape following allegations of forcible sexual assault, according to the Pennington County State's Attorney. The six teenagers, all members of Mitchell Post 18's varsity baseball team, appeared in front of a judge Tuesday in Pennington County, where they all pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. The suspects were joined in court by dozens of supporters. All juveniles in this case are being tried as adults. Haley has been accused of aping two victims and aiding and abetting. Waddell has been charged with one count of ape and aiding and abetting of two victims. If found guilty, they both face a maximum sentence of 150 years behind bars. The four other teenagers were all charged with ape and aiding and abetting. Those charges all involve the same victim. Those four could face a maximum of 100 years in prison. Pennington County State's Attorney Laura Rozzo confirmed to News Nation's Chris Cuomo that the victims were male. The victims were male. The American Legion responded to the allegations in a statement, saying the allegations are very disturbing and are not in keeping with the traditions and the core purpose of American Legion baseball. The case first made headlines in June when the Mitchell Baseball Association suspended the team and canceled several games after allegations arose. It happened shortly after a tournament in Pennington County, which is where the alleged crimes took place. The allegations were then taken to the State Department of Criminal Investigations because there were beliefs local law enforcement had connections to the baseball team. I mean, is it just me, or is it just everywhere you look now, corruption just stares right at you? Like, you see it everywhere. That's when investigators found that the incidents actually happened in Rapid City, South Dakota, and that's when the case was transferred under her jurisdiction. They also said what was interesting about the case was that it was initially reported as a hazing incident, and that's how Mitchell Baseball was treating it. I also think it's very important for people to understand that I do not think this was an isolated incident within the Mitchell Legion baseball team. I do believe that this was a culture of repeated behavior that had been going on for years. She continued, it's really frightening to me that they were characterizing it as hazing because, hazing something entirely different, and that is not that. This is an actual act of sexual assault, not hazing or association. So good. I'm glad that, it seems to be going and headed in the right direction. They all absolutely should be charged as adults. Absolutely. And you hear so often about, boys and sports teams and getting away with it, and the school trying to, keep that on the DL and all of that. I'm so glad that's not happening in this case. I know, Nana. This is late for me, too. Okay. Hold on. I want to pull this up. So, let me get up here. Girl, 16, found murdered in woods 2 months after vanishing from New York home. A 16-year-old has been found murdered in the woods 2 months after her family reported her missing from home. Jacara Lopez Moore had been reported missing by her family on August 29th, 2 days after she left her Weld Street home in Rochester, New York, before vanishing. Police said it was unclear how long Lopez Moore's body had been in the woods. The Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office identified the body, which was found in a state of decomp in Woodland behind 5 Vanguard Parkway. Authorities said the decomp meant scientific identification was required. The cause of death has not been released, but a homicide investigation is underway. Frank Umbrino of the Rochester Police Department previously said the family feared she could be in danger after leaving her home in August around 1:45 a.m. The circumstances surrounding Lopez Moore's disappearance remain under investigation. Yeah. Another life taken so young, lost in such a tragic way, and unfortunately she was not found in time. Lopez Moore's death marks Rochester's 49th homicide of 2023, according to the RPD's open data portal. In further Rochester news, police also announced this week that a woman who was shot in 2020 died from her injuries. Okay. Sad. You know, it seems too that it's very rare that there's ever a happy ending. Okay. So much crime, so little time. Oh, I wanted to pull this up. Somebody had sent this to me. So talking about the the Ram sticker on the back of the 2013 Honda CR-V was this right here. Just wanted to point out that it is pagan, and I guarantee you that it's the community that put it there. Just wanted to point that out because there it is right there. Okay, now. Oh, that's terrible. That's sad. Okay. All right, mom, 39, sentenced to 7 years. Her 3-year-old daughter was dying for 5 hours while she was watching TV. An Australian woman appears to have premeditated the murder of her baby girl by leaving her locked up in a car during a heat wave. The judge sentenced her to almost 10 years in prison, but also noted that she required treatment for her possible mental health issues. On October 6, 2023, Laura Rose Peveril was sentenced to 7 years in prison for her daughter's death, but in less than 2 years, she'll be eligible for parole on July 3rd, 2025. On November 27th, 2020, Riley Rose Black, 3, sadly passed on after being left unattended and locked inside a Toyota. A May 2022 court appearance revealed that Riley's mother and her then boyfriend of a few months, Aaron Hill, 32, abandoned her. The former couple drove to the supermarket after dropping off her 3 other daughters at school. She was so cute. At around 9:50 a.m., the pair returned the car to Laura's home driveway before collecting groceries and leaving the little girl buckled up in the back seat. The duo then went inside the Burdell home to binge watch Shameless on Netflix while the little girl sat in the vehicle for over 5 hours in the middle of the day. During her Supreme Court appearance in 2023, the prosecutor, David Nardone, said in his closing argument that the temperature inside the car reached the unsurvivable heat wave of 51.5 degrees. Nardone noted how little Riley eventually went into a coma and died because of the heat. In April of 2023, the woman who lived in the north of Queensland pleaded guilty to manslaughter, with her defense lawyer, Victoria Trafford Walker, pleading her case. Trafford Walker said her client is badly affected by losing her child, despite failing to show care on that fateful day. The Townsville mother allegedly didn't intend to harm her toddler in any way and has since been threatened by social media users who have sent her death threats and 200 abusive messages. The attorney claimed Laura, who apologized for her actions, is remorseful and suffers mental health issues, but some reports from authorities could have made her case worse. Okay, police alleged Laura Googled whether she would go to jail for leaving a child in a car a day before her daughter's incident. So she Googled that. But Trafford Walker disputed the statement, saying the search was done on a different day. The parent said she loves Riley in an indescribable way, with Justice David North describing her actions as such. Even if, though, it was on a different day, right? Like, even if it was on a different day. I mean, she still Googled it. The judge felt Riley's mother was also addicted to illegal substances and required treatment due to the tragic loss. North also recommended that the 39-year-old woman be held in protective custody. Three people formed a team to give him added financial support and created a GoFundMe account to benefit Riley's father. Peter Black, Riley's father, got to read a victim impact statement about his late daughter. He described her as his bubbly and happy princess and recalled feeling like the world had stopped turning when he received that heartbreaking call, and at her funeral he confessed, "I would have moved mountains if I had been there." I mean, that is so sad. That is so sad. And you know, the worst part of it is that after only serving 2 years, this mother will be eligible for parole. By July 3rd, 2025, she could be a free woman. When obviously she planned this thing. She planned to leave her daughter in there and do it in this horrible way. And you got people feeling bad for her because she's a drug addict and because she's not mentally all there. It's so insane to me. Yeah, that's terrible. Okay. Yeah, the puppies were fighting. They're such a pain. They're such a pain. Okay, and I mean that with love. Okay, sorry. Moving on. Did y'all hear about this? Florida mom stabbed to death by teenage son who sent pics of her corpse to his friends. Like what? Haley, Florida. A 39-year-old mother of two was stabbed to death by her eldest child, a 13-year-old boy, in her sleep on October 12th in the presence of her 2-week-old infant. The teen has not been publicly identified. Police and Haley were called by the teenager himself, who told them that he had killed his mother. When officers responded to the call, they found Garcia dead in her bedroom next to a crib carrying a 14-day-old baby. The baby was not harmed in any way. A neighbor recorded the moments when Haley police officers ordered the teen to come out of the apartment with his hands up. The video shows the boy doing as he was told and an officer taking him to the ground while other officers entered the home. The arrest report states that the teen later told officials that he stabbed his mother while she was sleeping. He also took pictures of her corpse and sent them to a friend over social media and told the same friend over the phone that he had killed her. Haley police spokesman Eddie Rodriguez said, "This is heartbreaking. I never would have imagined something like this, a 13-year-old child taking his mother's life. It's a very sad story." Rodriguez stated that the baby in the crib was the teenager's half-sister. Garcia's husband, the teenager's stepfather, happens to be a truck driver who was out of the state when the killing happened, but was on his way back home. The teenager has been taken into custody. He is expected to face a second-degree murder charge, said the police. Rodriguez said, "We're hearing from family that he was a good kid, honor roll student at school, no history of mental health issues. The detectives are looking into the possible reasons for the teen to do this. We don't know. That's something that we're still trying to figure out. He did not say why he did this. All he did was call 911 and advise that he did it." Sources have reportedly revealed to NBC that the teen called the police because he was afraid he was going to harm the infant and himself. One of his classmates reacted to the news saying, "I'm surprised, I'm shocked, and I'm angry. I talked to him many times and I said, 'Love yourself,' and he would always say, 'Okay.'" Prosecutors are looking to charge the teen as an adult. What do you guys think about that? Good kid, honor roll student, no mental health issues, seemed to be a well-adjusted kid. And then just does this to his mom in her sleep. She just had a baby 14 days ago. I mean, what is happening?
What was yesterday's date?
I know, so crazy. Makes you wonder though, like, man. But what do you guys think? Charge him as an adult? What do you say? Or no? Do you think he should be charged as a juvenile? Okay. Hey, Leslie. Glad you could make it. Depends on the reason. Adult. Oh my gosh, so insane. Okay. Demonic possession. Yeah, the baby's alive. The baby was left completely untouched. And he called the cops, said, "I killed my mom." And, the weird thing is, though, he sent pictures of her dead body to his friend, which is, I would say, is a mental health freaking emergency if I ever seen one. But, I'm not a doctor. All right. Hold on, I'm trying. Okay. Now, if you guys remember, months and months and months ago, we had talked about Lindsay Clancy. She was the mother who strangled her 3 children in the basement of their home in the dad's office, and then jumped out of a second-story window. Okay. And they didn't know what was going to happen. Like, was she gonna walk on because they were like, she's mentally ill. She can't even go to trial. Like, she's gonna be in the hospital forever. There was talk of her being paralyzed, and but she could just show no emotion and yada yada yada. I think any mother who does that to their kids, like, should not get off as easy as just, oh, it's not guilty due to mental disease or defect. And then, in a couple years, they feel rehabilitated and they're out back into the world. I mean, you just don't know. And she was a midwife and a nurse. And I mean, totally crazy. But anyway, we didn't know then what they were going to do. Grand jury indicts Massachusetts mother Lindsay Clancy on charges of killing her 3 young kids. So they did indict her. Grand jury on Friday indicted Massachusetts mother Lindsay Clancy in the deaths of her young children, handing down 3 counts each of murder and strangulation, the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office announced. Clancy, 33, of Duxbury, Massachusetts, has been held without bail and is being treated in a medical facility following her attempted suicide on January 24th, when officials said her kids were discovered unconscious in the family's basement. Her older children, 5-year-old Cora, her 3-year-old son Dawson, were pronounced dead that day, while 8-month-old Callan was treated for several days at a children's hospital before he passed. Clancy was indicted by a Plymouth County grand jury. She is scheduled to be arraigned in Plymouth Superior Court at an unspecified date. Kevin Reddington, Clancy's attorney, did not immediately respond to a voicemail or text request comment on Friday's indictment. He previously has said that Clancy had postpartum depression and possibly postpartum psychosis, a rare condition in which hallucinations alter people's perception of reality after childbirth, sometimes driving them to hurt themselves or their children. But this woman Googled certain things, and then she sent her husband to go get food, and she mapped it out to see exactly how many minutes and how long it would take him from the time he left the home to go pick up the food and to come back. And then she called and asked him to stop at the store. So that gave her an extra couple of minutes. So when he got home, his kids were all unconscious, being, been strangled, and she done jumped out the 2nd-story window talking about, oh, poor me, I tried to kill myself. And I mean, just the things that she looked up and Googled, and, I mean, it's so crazy. And then they had a GoFundMe for $800,000. It was completely insane. Reddington has also told the judge in Clancy's case that she had been thoroughly destroyed by prescription medications, including Valium, Prozac, Klonopin, and Zoloft, which he said masked her symptoms instead of treating them. Prosecutors, on the other hand, alleged that Clancy was able to think clearly and meticulously plan out her children's death, sending her husband Patrick out to do errands she knew would give her enough time to strangle them. They said she used the Apple Maps app on her phone to time a trip to a restaurant in a neighboring town where he picked up takeout while she allegedly attacked the kids. A medical examiner determined Cora and Dawson died of asphyxia, while Callan died of a complication of asphyxia, according to the local district attorney's office. Patrick Clancy did not respond to a request for comment Friday. Prosecutors have said that he told police that his wife had been smiling and happy earlier on the day. Despite a stay in the psychiatric facility in the weeks leading up to their children's death, Lindsay Clancy had been having one of her best days after a long struggle with anxiety. And she had just posted about how she was back into her normal self, feeling like her normal self, back into a routine. Things were definitely on the up and up. Like things were getting so much better for her. Yeah. Her son, who was how many months old? 8 or 9 months old, was he? 8 months old. And she said that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. Well, they indicted her, so I'm very happy to hear that. That's the good news, anyways. Hey, poise the noise. Okay, moving on. Isn't that near where the Salem witch trials were? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Somewhere in that general area. Oh, I believe in that. I believe that's a real thing.
Oh, where?
Man charged with murder after allegedly shaking and killing his newborn son at the hospital. A mother of 3 is mourning the death of her newborn twin son who died at a North Carolina hospital earlier this month. Gunnar Bliss was just 3 weeks old when he was taken off life support at WaveMed Hospital in Raleigh. His father, 22-year-old Noah Benjamin Bliss, allegedly violently shook the infant while the family stayed at WakeMed after Gunnar and his twin sister Madeline were born prematurely on September 14th. The infant's mother, Savannah Bliss, spoke with WRAL and recounted the day her husband allegedly snapped. She is shocked and devastated that her husband, a man she believed to be a loving and doting father, could commit such a horrible crime. All right, let me pause this for 1 second.
Assaulting his newborn son. A father is charged with assaulting his newborn son in the very place that tried to save that boy's life. Now that child has been removed from life support at WakeMed, and his father is charged with murder.
WRL's Chelsea Donovan talked to the child's mother about his tragic death and joins us live with a story you will only see on WRAL. Chelsea?
Yeah, as you mentioned today, I spoke at length with Savannah Bliss, the mother of Gunnar and his twin sister Madeline, both born here at WakeMed just about a month ago. These twins were doing so well. Gunnar, you see here just minutes after he was born, doing exceptionally well, that just a few days ago he was moved out of the NICU and to a different area of the hospital where Dad was watching over him. And that's when she tells me the unthinkable happened. Just 1 month ago, it was the happiest of times. Savannah and Noah Bliss welcomed 2 new bundles of joy, twins, Gunnar Thomas and Madeline Ray, both born at 34 weeks at WakeMed. They were joining a big sister, Peyton, for a family of 5. About 2 weeks ago, little Gunnar was able to leave the NICU, his twin, Madeline, staying upstairs with Mom.
He was the sweetest little boy with the most beautiful blue eyes.
On October 6, 10 days ago, tragedy struck inside WakeMed. Savannah Bliss, talking only to WRAL, says Noah, her husband, was watching Gunnar and their older child at the inn on WakeMed property when she says Noah assaulted Gunnar.
I trusted him. That was his daddy.
According to Savannah, nurses told her Gunnar's injuries indicated he was shaken by his father. Medical staff told her that Gunnar had no external injuries or broken bones, but that he suffered a brain bleed and swelling, and he was deprived of oxygen due to a head trauma. Noah Bliss was then charged by WakeMed police with intentional child abuse. Last night, baby Gunnar was taken off life support. and his father, seen here with him, was charged in his murder.
I just want justice for my son. He was innocent.
Now, Noah Bliss remains in the Wake County Detention Center under no bond. He's got another court date next month. Madeline, we should mention, is out of the ICU. That's Gunner's twin sister and at home tonight with mom.
Boy, that story just breaks your heart. Chelsea Donovan, live at Wake Med. Thank you.
No, while still in the hospital. I mean, that's so, as far as I'm concerned, people like that do things like that. Like, I don't even know why we have to waste money on court and all of that. Seriously, when you're guilty of something like that, why do we even gotta go through the freaking jump through the hoops? Why? Just throw his ass and lock him up and never let him out again. Or let's just call it like it is, an eye for an eye. I mean, it'd be a lot cheaper on the public. All right, Delaware man charged in kidnapping of 11-year-old New Jersey girl after online gaming. A Delaware man has been arrested and charged with the kidnapping of an 11-year-old New Jersey girl who authorities say he met online playing video games. The girl was found and recovered from a small Delaware community on September 10th after being reported missing the same day. Darius Madlewick, 27, is charged with kidnapping and endangering the welfare of a child. He's accused of luring the girl after meeting her while playing an online video game and taking her from her hometown of Wayne, New Jersey, about 140 miles southwest to his hometown of Bear, Delaware. His attorney, Jillian Elko, did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Monday. He had been expected in court Monday for a hearing to determine whether he's eligible for release or should be held while awaiting trial, but a court official said it was delayed until October 20th. The Newcastle County Police in Delaware arrested Madlewick in Bear and extradited him to New Jersey, where he could face more than 30 years in prison if convicted of the charges, which he absolutely should be. Madlewick met the girl playing online video games, and the two communicated through Roblox, a gaming platform, said Jennifer Fetterman, chief assistant prosecutor with the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office. Roblox did not immediately provide a statement to USA Today on Monday, but told WPVI-TV in Philly that they have reached out to law enforcement agencies and are offering help. We work tirelessly to prevent grooming on our platform and have a team of thousands of moderators who enforce a strict set of community standards. On their website, Roblox has listed several resources for parents concerned about their children's safety. Safety and civility are foundational to everything we do, the company says. We've built a platform with industry-leading safety and civility features. We continuously evolve our platform as our community grows and evolves. Okay, now, I know that it's, especially if you have more than one child, I understand that it is hard to literally freaking keep an eye on every single thing that they do. I know you cannot have your eyes on them every minute, but at least I think parents should have these conversations with their kids, because here's the problem, right? You have this community, Roblox, which is, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a freaking endless amount of games, right? And you can go in there. It's so easy to create an account. You can go in there and you can say you're any age that you want to say that you are, right? But you go in there and then you can hop into any game you want, and then you communicate with the other players in the game. The problem is that when they create things like this aimed at children, it's going to become a very popular thing for predators, groomers, and all of that. Because why? They're going where the children are. So you create this community that you think is going to be, oh, this is going to be good for kids, yada, yada, yada. Problem is that's where all the groomers are coming to. That's where all the predators are coming to, because they know that that's where the kids are at. So you got to talk to your kids and listen. Just explain to them that they may think that because it's made for kids and it's a kids community that it's safe, but that it couldn't be farther from the truth, because it's actually, in my opinion, more dangerous. Because predators know where to go. They know what they're doing. They know where to go to find the kids. And it's going to be in communities that's basically for children. So just, make sure your kids are aware. I had the conversation with my kids when this story came up. And I mean, I've told them before, but we had the conversation again. And, you can never be too careful. Thank God she was found. That doesn't happen all the time. Okay. Just as a reminder, guys, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up for me. And if you have not already done so, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And you want to go even further, consider becoming a member of the family. This is the wrong one. Hold on a second. That's the wrong story. My bad. Okay, now, show of hands. Okay, show of hands. How many of you had to read Anne Frank in school? How many of you had to read the Diary of Anne Frank? Raise your hand. How many of you? Probably one of the most popular books, right? In school. Like, everybody read it. I don't know anybody that's been like, oh, I've never even read that book. Like, what? Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, huge. Like, I read it in school. We had to read it in school, and then I had to do like a book report on it. Had to write a whole essay. I mean, it was a whole big thing. Okay, so I thought this was interesting, especially now, right? Where you got teachers bringing all kinds of inappropriate things to children in the classrooms. You got all kinds of chaos happening inside schools right now. The least of which your worry should be the Diary of Anne Frank, right? I mean, come on. So check this story out. A Texas teacher was fired for reading Anne Frank's diary to 8th grade students. The communications director and community engagement coordinator for the Hampshire Fana Independent School District in Texas confirmed that the teacher read to her students a version of the book that was not approved by the district. Hold on, guys. My puppies are fighting again. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, chat. Like, the stuff that I mean, you'd be amazed at the stuff that kids are being introduced to in schools today. But a teacher goes and reads a version of Anne Frank to her 8th grade class, and this teacher gets fired. Totally insane to me. Hold on. According to one of the parents who talked to KFDM6, the school emailed them on Tuesday informing them that their 8th grade children had read content that was not appropriate and vowed to stop such content immediately. The parent also voiced his concerns over the book's content regarding same-gender attraction, terming the passage where Anne Frank expresses her interest in another girl as not okay. Oh, now I'm starting to get it. Now I'm starting to get why this book was pulled, why this teacher was fired. Now we're getting the truth. It wasn't just because it was an Anne Frank story. It was because an Anne Frank story that was talking about Anne having feelings for another female and knowing that those feelings were not okay. That's why they got fired. Following the incident, the school authorities made a decision to suspend the teacher and launch an investigation against her conduct on Wednesday, barely a day after alleged wrongdoing. Although the teacher faced a punitive response from the school, the passage read was part of Anne's original writings, edited out from the classical version prepared for publication in 1947 by her father, Otto Frank. So it was actually from her diary, actually written in there. I'm just saying. I remember it like it was yesterday, having to do all that in school. Today, hell no, I would not want to be inside of a school. I know, you guys, it's crazy. It is freaking insane. Exactly. It wasn't bad enough. It didn't use the right terminology. So they were like, nope, can't have that. All right, now. Whoa. Let me just back up here for a second. Taliban flags are now being waved in Florida. We have a serious problem. Did you ever think that on U.S. soil, you would have people walking around waving the Taliban flags? I mean, this is so insane to me. It is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever, it's so completely crazy that this is happening in the United States. Are there seriously people trying to back up terrorists right now in the middle of the streets? Seriously. I mean, this is so crazy to me. I never thought I'd see the day that this would be a thing. All right, let me make it bigger. I will mute it because I don't want to hear what they're saying. But, I've heard it, but you know what I'm saying. I'll just play it for you. Look. See this flag right here? It's the Taliban flag. And this is a protest for these people in Florida in the United States. People walking around protesting for terrorists. Seriously. And it honestly, with the way with the way the younger generation is today, like these age people, they probably don't even know what the hell they're actually out there protesting for. They probably don't even know what they're representing when they're walking down the streets of Florida waving a freaking Taliban flag. They probably don't even know what they're out there for. They're just like, oh, this is in. Oh, gotta go protest. What do you protest? I don't know. Something that's important. Like, it's so ridiculous to me. So stupid and so crazy that that's allowed here. I mean, I get it. It's America, but that's what I'm saying, right? It's America. We have the right to protest. I mean, protest what you want, but are we really going to let them protest these people's flags and have them waving up and down the street? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then look at all the celebrities, these freaking boneheads who want to come out endorsing this group as well. It's complete craziness. Right? Like anything that sounds important. They don't know their asses from their elbows, but they're out there protesting something that they know absolutely nothing about. I hear you. I hear you on that. Hello, Rebecca. Hope you're good too. Okay. Get that craziness off my screen.
No! That's juice. No juice there. No juice there.
All right. Police confirm B.O. was on the scene during his chef's death. Massachusetts State Police confirmed that former President B.O. was on the scene during the time of his personal chef's suspicious death. Didn't see that one coming. The Massachusetts State Police responded to our FOIA request and released the report with some redactions. According to the report, Obama was on the scene shortly after Campbell went missing. The report also states an unmanned female staffer jumped into the water when Tafari fell off his board. It was already too late. He disappeared. We also know now that Secret Service has surveillance footage of Campbell from Obama's compound moments before he entered the water. Judicial Watch announced today that it received 40 pages of records from the Massachusetts State Police that indicate the presence of B.O. for a witness interview in the death investigation of the Obama's personal chef, Tafari Campbell. Judicial Watch said in a statement on Friday. The records, which are heavily redacted, indicate B.O. and a direct witness to Campbell's drowning arrived at the emergency response scene via motorcade. The next morning, the eyewitness was interviewed in the Obama residence, again with B.O. present. The records also detail the existence of a Secret Service video of Campbell and his paddleboarding companion entering the water and the Secret Service emergency response in the immediate aftermath of the drowning. The state police records show they concluded no foul play in Campbell's accidental death. The documents were produced to Judicial Watch in response to a July 25th, 2003 Massachusetts Public Records Law request for all records relating to the death of Campbell. The documents show Campbell's family told police that he had taken swimming lessons in 2019. I think that's a misspell. That's supposed to be 2023. Lessons in 2019, but described his ability as not a great swimmer. The drowning occurred in Edgartown Great Pond, which Massachusetts environmental police estimated to be approximately 7 to 8 feet deep. The records also show a female eyewitness, an Obama employee whose name is redacted, told state police that she saw Campbell fall off his paddleboard, began splashing, and became extremely panicked, yelling for help, and subsequently went underwater very quickly. By the time she reached his paddleboard, the witness said Campbell had disappeared into the extremely murky water. The records include a July 4th, 2023 homicide death report written by Massachusetts State Trooper Dustin Shaw that lists the details of the investigation into Campbell's death. Shit. Hold on. Do you guys know what Joby? Oh, yes. Okay. True crime in action. 3 people announce themselves as Seattle police, try to kick down door. Owner shows how beautiful the Second Amendment is. Let me...
Seattle police!
Exactly. Like, I mean, just imagine what would you even do if you were unprepared? What would you even do in a situation like that where they immediately come to your door, start kicking it in? I mean, if you didn't use your Second Amendment rights. Oh shit, hold on, I hit the wrong button. Crazy. All right, let me pull this up. All right, let me go over this. This is Chelsea Grimm's timeline. For those of you that don't know, she went missing on a cross-country trip. She was on her way to Connecticut, never left Arizona. She made it to Arizona, never left Arizona though, okay, as far as we know. Her car was found left in the middle of the road, in the middle of a back service road, okay? Her car was left in the middle of the road. There was no keys inside. All of her belongings were gone. The only thing that was left behind was her camera. The doors were locked. Could she have just gotten out of the car, went in, grabbed all of her stuff, went out to do some camping? I mean, we're talking national forest here. So, I mean, and if she was not in the right state of mind and she was disoriented and this and that, then, I mean, it's a very good possibility that she could have went out there and then got lost or something like that, right? That's a total possibility. The only thing that I just think is odd is why wouldn't she have pulled off onto the side of the road or even off the road into that field? Like, why would she have just gotten out of the car in the middle of the road and decided, I'm just going to leave my car here? And so when the cops found it, it had both the tires were flat. But the hunters who had seen it before said that the tires were not flat, according to Mr. SF Investigates, because he's on the case, So here's her timeline. September 24th, 2023. She left her home in San Diego to drive to Connecticut for a wedding. September 27th, she met up with a female friend in Arizona. That was also the same day that she called her mom and said, listen, this is going to take way too long. I'm going to skip the wedding and just come home. September 28th, 2023. Chelsea was seen trying to book a hotel in Seligman, Arizona. She seemed disoriented and confused. Chelsea tried to exchange euros instead of U.S. currency. September 28th. Suspicious activity was reported to police at Williams Cemetery in Arizona. Police body cam footage shows Chelsea explaining that she was emotional over the fallen soldiers and was taking photographs in the cemetery. The officer that pulled her over suggested that she park her SUV at a nearby truck stop. September 30th, Chelsea spoke with a woodcutter. He saw her car on the isolated road and stopped and talked to her in a nearby field. October 5th, hunters spotted her car on Khabib National Forest Road near Ashfork. Her SUV had 2 flat tires. Her phone, purse, bearded dragon, and sleeping bag were not in the car, thought to be with her. Camera that she used to take pictures in cemetery was left inside the car. No cell phone or credit card activity since September 28th or 9th. Now, just some things to go along with that. This was the last picture she took of herself, and it was taken from the camera that was left in the car. She looks like she has been crying. She looks upset. She loves animals. She would never leave her pet bearded dragon inside the car. Family is hopeful because the dragon is missing as well. Family says that she changed plans often. They weren't alarmed right away when she changed plans and canceled driving to Connecticut for the wedding. People in the area have reported that others have went missing from this area. It's not a spot locals say is safe. Her ex-boyfriend PJ seems suspicious, but was in San Diego at the time of her disappearance. She is a licensed social worker. She was reading Bible more often than she usually did. Yeah, so people are saying that she was most recently starting to get very spiritual. And she had also recently just broken up with her boyfriend. Her father said that she was afraid of him. Like, this was like a lot weighing on her mentally. Mentally, she was not in the best spot she could be in. Her dad said that they don't think she did anything to harm herself, but at this point, they're not ruling it out. I mean, it sounds crazy, but she has not been seen or heard from or nothing since. So it is, pretty concerning given the fact that it's been so long now and she has not been found and no word from her, no nothing. Now, in the last video that I had made about her, Chelsea Grimm, somebody had left in the comment section that she was planning on going to a spiritual retreat out there in the mountains. I don't know. I had not heard that, and I have still not heard that again since this, since that came out. So I'm not really sure with that, but it's just something food for thought because she was obviously trying to, or she was obviously, investigating her spiritual side anyway. Okay. So again, if you live in Arizona, if you live in the area, please keep an eye out. Yeah, the news is just bad for you. But anyway, I did have a lot more that I wanted to share, but I tried starting this stream at 10 o'clock and it just did not work out for me. So I am going to end this one here tonight, but I will try to get another one out to you as soon as I can. And please check out my community posts. I have a couple of them posted. If you have not done so, I try to keep posts and updates and shit on there. So please hit that thumbs up. Please sub to the channel. Please consider becoming a member. And you know how it goes. The links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you next time.